Tonight, auctioneers selling confiscated vehicles of defunct microfinance and savings and loans companies are having a tough time with the auction process. There have been concerns about limited information with regards to vehicles and the price tags. On day 2 of the auctioning process, some of the bidders who spoke to Joy Business called for a more transparent approach to enhance competition. There's more in this report.
A new type of Kia Rio, not the old type one. Or your money finish, eh? Your money finish. Okay. 14,000 Ghana cedis. No sale.
The second day of the auction process was rather slow as compared to the first day, which recorded a packed hall. The issues of pricing still remained one major concern for some prospective buyers who say they have lost interest and abandoned the process before the day came to an end. Joy Business has been engaging some of them.
Car have to come. Let's say Corolla X. It's not about the quality, but it's auctioning. So the car have to come down like maybe 5,000. They will bid it. So everybody will bring the prices. You understand? That's what they call it, auction. But auction, you can't come and call Toyota this in Corolla X. You will tell us it's 30,000. No, this is not auction. They are not doing auction. They are doing something for their own interest because this is not an auction they are doing.
Yaris car, 22.
Are you also not looking at the quality, maybe the quality of
the car? Is neat. The car is neat. But the car, we didn't see the car. But the way the process has been going, you pay half, then they'll take you where the car is. No problem.
You've seen the picture?
I've seen the picture. I'm okay with it because I'm buying cars like that. You understand? But let the price come a little bit. At least the Yaris like this, they give us like maybe like 15,000 or 14,000. It's good. I can buy 2 or 3. You understand? It can work for me to achieve something. But the price they've been calling, I can't even buy even 1 car. My money too is not enough. You understand? The price.
What about the, apart from the pricing and order, what about today's process? Has there been an improvement in the process?
I don't see any improvement. Yesterday, it be the same thing. The price they've been calling yesterday, because they told us that they are going to think about it. When they come today, they will see what they will do about the price. But today, they even calling higher, more than yesterday's one.
Meanwhile, others, however, felt the process can be improved if more information about the vehicles are attached to the projected pictures.
14,000 Ghana cedis. No sale.
I feel like more details of the vehicles could have been displayed for us to know. For instance, the cars that are being displayed, you don't know if it's an automatic or manual car because not all of us went to the inspection. So that's the problem I have with the bidding because as I said there, I don't know if I'm buying a manual car or an automatic car. That is my main problem.
Before the process ended, bidders rejected 22 vehicles and have been earmarked for re-auction. The receiver is hinting of setting another evaluation date should they fail to get buyers by the end of the process on Friday. Ebenezer Sabute's report for Joy Business.
The Ghana Commercial Agriculture Project, with support from Exim Bank, has supported 10 vegetable farmers and agribusiness entrepreneurs to study best practices in vegetable export trade in Kenya. The training was aimed at equipping them with tools and other modern methods of cultivating vegetables for the EU market as well as other foreign markets. Here's more in this report.
The Ghana Commercial Agriculture Project is under the Ministry of Agriculture with support from the Japanese government to revamp the growth of vegetables and other export-oriented products by farmers. The 10 agribusiness entrepreneurs who returned from Kenya had the opportunity to experience from some of the largest producers since Kenya is one of the biggest in vegetable production in Africa. Project coordinator Osewu Swajimai, who led the delegation, told Joy Business that the beneficiaries will transfer the knowledge.
We're going to use them as a focal point to revamp the vegetable sector. And the government sponsored them. We're also going to give them cold vans and other infrastructure facilities that enable them to provide market access to the vegetable farmers throughout the country. Currently, we are assisting vegetable farmers in Angosikope in Ada, Hippo in South Tongu, Michelle Camp in Tema, then atomic energy in Ghana East. Then we're also looking at assisting farmers in Kumasi to help them to build their capacity in terms of sanitation and marketing.
Some of the beneficiaries also added that most of their lessons learned from Kenya will be implemented if the regulatory environment is friendly for their business.
They make sure the protocols are in place from the farm production side to the pack house. You know, they ensure that the food and safety measures are in place. And these are one of the things that we ensure that when we are producing here in Ghana, we have to enforce. They've got this local standard in Kenya called the Kenya standard, and which Ghana is, I think, we have a similar thing called the Ghana Green Label. I think when we're able to push that Ghana Green Label, our vegetable sector is going to grow big.
We also had the opportunity to meet with the standard board over there to have some discussion how they have been able to implement their regulations. They have standards for both exporting the vegetables as well as their flowers, as well as the local supplies they do. So we are trying to implement the same thing here in Ghana. We learned a lot from this trip. It's amazing the structures they have in place, and the assistance programs they have for the farmers have helped with a huge unemployment opportunities over there. So we are hoping we're able to do the same here in Ghana as well.
Military men are noted for mental toughness and discipline, which happen to be very essential tools for business. Perhaps the reason some corporate institutions occasionally organize military training programs for staff. Well, to prepare them similarly for the business world, the 2020 cohort of Cosmos Innovation Center Agritech Challenge spent a week at the Shire Hills Army Recruit Training School. Karen Dodo was with them on their mountain climbing experience and brings us excerpts.
Just as was done for the recruits from the 2019 edition, the Agri-Techies were given the chance to visit Mount Cloem, also within the Shire Sudoku district. The trip up and down the mountain was estimated to be 4.5 kilometers. After several days of physical training, these recruits felt no mountain was too great to surmount. With vim and bottles of water, they started their journey in a single file. However, 20 minutes into the 2-hour journey, and some could not take the exhaustion. After several careful steps, sips of water and hundreds of stops, they finally made it to the summit, an accomplishment they would never forget.
I'm feeling great. It's been a nice experience, though I thought I couldn't do it, but then ever since I started, I'm saying that I'm going. I'm on track, sir. It was a bit difficult. At a point, it's very okay, like you can walk a bit, but when you get to some point, it's very steep. Then my ear will be burning like fire, so I just put water on it, but I didn't drink water.
I was wondering if I could even reach the top, like if I can even make it. But I'm happy I've been able to reach the top, and at least I'm happy I'm here. It's my first time though. I've never climbed any mountain before, yeah.
The trip to Mount Cloem was not only meant to entertain them, but to teach them a lesson on perseverance in life.
Well, this part of the whole training is basically to push them to test their endurance. You know, climbing this mountain, I told them initially that it's like life. The higher you go, the more difficult it becomes, but it doesn't mean that you have to stop. It doesn't mean that you get to go back. You can only move forward. So this is more of, it signifies life as a whole.
They do catch the full experience of the KIC 2020 Bootcamp on Wednesday. That's tomorrow on the AM show at 7 a.m. Moving on to one of our top stories tonight, the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, shut down the smelting line of United Steel Company for breaching air pollution regulations. The EPA had earlier given the steel manufacturing firm till the 31st of January to install air pollutant systems to minimize pollution of the atmosphere. But on a visit to the manufacturing site by officials of the EPA and some national security operatives, it was clear United Steel had not met the deadline. Charles Aite brings us more in this report.
The visit to the steel smelting site of United Steel follows months of concerns over air pollution in the area. Officials from the Environmental Protection Agency EPA, the National Disaster Management Organization NADMO, and the National Security, as well as the Free Zones Enclave, inspected the smelting plant of the company, which showed not much has been done to install pollution control systems. After the inspection exercise, management of United Steel met with officials of the EPA on progress made so far in ensuring environmental safety.
Big hoods fixed in opposite of the fans, of the furnaces. And then I will show you, this is how it will connect it to the roof and then to the system. Now, when I will fix it, there is a big fan coming now in the container. It will suck all the smoke coming from the furnaces to the fan, and the fan will push it to the chimney.
At the end, Deputy Executive Director of the EPA, Ebenezer K. Apasampon, directed the steel factory to halt smelting steel until the pollution control system is fixed.
The directive is that they shut that aspect of the operation which is polluting, not the entire factory, because there are other aspects which is not polluting, and then install the pollution control system. When they are ready, they can invite us to come and see, and then we can reopen it. So that's the directive. And they would require that they comply with it. Failure to do so, we have to look at what remedies we have at our disposal. So basically, that is the we are here with all the institutions, and we will have to work with them to ensure that there's compliance with the directive. The national security is here, NADMO is here. We are also here. Our regional office is here. We expect that we don't have to come in and enforce it. They will have to comply.
From United Steel, the team inspected works at Ryder Steel. Here, it was clear much has been done to check air pollution within the Free Zones Enclave. Moving forward, the EPA says it will be intensifying surveillance on several steel manufacturing firms here in the country, especially when matters regarding pollution has been on the top of the agenda since last year. I'm Charles Aite reporting for Joy Business.
The cedi is the best performing currency against the US dollar. That's according to Bloomberg. We make sense of that at the other side of this break. Do stay tuned. Welcome back to Business Live. My name is Darryl Kwao. International media and research organization Bloomberg is rating the Ghana cedi as the best performing currency in the world against the United States dollar this year. It is also projecting a stronger currency as investors await a Eurobond sale soon. The strengthening of the cedi is said to be a remarkable turnaround from last year when it unusually weakened by almost 13%. Economist with Data Bank, Karijmati, tells Joy Business the situation is largely due to the central bank's policies in the FX space. There's more in this report.
Bloomberg's rating of the Ghana cedi against the dollar as the best performing currency out of 140 countries has come as big surprise, following its abysmal performance, especially towards the end of 2019. Economist Karijmati believes the Bank of Ghana's FX directives and trading is yielding positive results.
We are seeing consistent spot market interventions from the central bank. And what I mean by that is that the central bank is consistently selling some level of FX on the market, on the spot market specifically, to those who really need the physical cash now and today, and that is helping the supply side. Secondly, we've also seen the introduction of FX forward auctions, and that started since last year, but it has gained ground. And why it has even gained ground this year is that in the first quarter of this year, the central bank has signaled that it will be selling a higher volume of dollars per auction during the FX forward auctions, and that has also calmed the nerve of the market, because now we don't only have injections in the spot market, we also have supply support for the forward market. And the forward market intervention is very critical, because what it has done is that it has calmed the apprehension of people who would ordinarily have loved to hoard the dollars when they do not really need it now.
Mr. Martin says the effects of the novel coronavirus will have minimal impacts on the city's sterling performance against the dollar.
I would rather assign a very insignificant weight to the potential effects from the coronavirus, and that's because if you recall the measures I outlined earlier about the intervention, the increase in foreign investor participation on our bonds market, and the FX inflows that it is bringing with it, that should attract bigger weight in explaining why the currency is the way it is. Plus also because, issues of trade relations do not just change dramatically overnight, and the corona noise started for not too long, and so would expect or imagine that it is too early in the day to think that is a key reason why the currency is performing the way it is. I mean, there are other avenues of importing from China without physical presence.
According to him, spare parts dealers at Abosokai, as well as second-hand cloth importers, will now be able to forecast and budget for their goods with a stable currency.
I wouldn't necessarily expect price reduction because the city is stable or has appreciated. And why I wouldn't expect necessarily price reduction is because when the city depreciated, I'm not sure the full cost was passed on to consumers. I'm sure there was some sharing ratios. Some of the margins were contracted to absorb some of these costs. And now that the city is stable, you also expect the sellers to say, okay, I will just maintain the price where it is to recover some of the lost margins when I absorb the cost. But then the benefit of this is that the rate of increase in general price levels will slow down.
Bloomberg's analysis indicates a cut down on travels and trade as a result of a reduced demand for foreign currency. Fred Duhos reports for Joy Business.
The Ghana Union of Traders Association GUTA has called on government to review interest rates to make local businesses competitive as the Africa Continental Free Trade begins this year. They believe it will encourage local traders to enhance their production and be able to rub shoulders with their counterparts on the continent. Now, the General Secretary for GUTA, Daniel Owahene Champon, tells Lab Business Ghana will miss out on the benefits of the free trade area if interest rates are not rationalized. Prince Apia has more in this report.
The free trade area will provide a bigger market space for local production in various African countries. Industry players say interest rates among member countries puts Ghanaian traders at a disadvantage. General Secretary of Ghana Union of Traders in the region, Daniel Owahene Champon, tells Lab Business Ghana will lose out on the benefits of the free trade until the issue is addressed.
The African free trade area, we have so many problems that we have to sit down and then analyze them well before it can come into operation. Because when you consider the interest rates, that is the other member states charge. For instance, Cote d'Ivoire, they charge around 4.5 interest rate per annum. Nigeria is charging about 13.5 interest rate per annum. And as we citizens in Ghana, we have challenges with our interest rates. Banks are charging interest rate from 25% to 28% per annum. And when you have such people that you are trading with, it gives you, it puts you at a disadvantage. We will not have the leverage to, compete with them as it should be.
Meanwhile, Ghana is being charged to find its competitive edge from raw materials available for export. Philbert Johnson is Director in charge of Africa and Regional Integration at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration. He has been speaking to Love Business on the sidelines of the ECOWAS revaluation program in the Ashanti region.
We need then to devise a strategy based on our comparative advantage, the advantages in our country. And already we know that government is implementing a host of policies. For example, planting for food and jobs, industrialization policy. How can we use the raw materials and the human resource we have here to create products for exports abroad? And we need to look at available sources of markets, and we need to establish the network for that trade.
The National Consultation Workshop for the Evaluation of ECOWAS Vision 2020 was held in Bekwai in the Ashanti region.
Our outfit, in cooperation with ECOWAS, is going round to have deliberations with community citizens in assessing the ECOWAS Vision 2020, evaluating it with a view to collecting the perceptions and the ideas of community citizens as building blocks for the vision beyond 2020.
The exercise will continue in various parts of the country to collect ideas on how to design a new vision beyond 2020 for the ECOWAS. Prince Apia reporting.
And that's a wrap for us. There's more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Darryl Kwal. There you go, the website, myjoyonline.com/business. We will be back same time tomorrow. Do stay tuned.